I want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And Foot's player back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square, boys kick the goal. Boys kick the goal from inside the centre.
Hey Pack, welcome to Danny Boyd. It's a podcast about the greatest football club in the known and expanded universe, the Footscray Football Club, Proprietary Limited. They trade as Western Bulldogs. Danny McGinlay is my name. I write funny banners. Tom Boyd is with me. He kicks winning goals in grand finals. Do you ever find out who kicked the winning goal in 1954?
I know that Doug Reynolds kicked the second last goal in 1954. He's still alive.
But that was like, we won by 50 points.
We did, yeah. So what's the winning goal? But it was so funny, and I think I've said this before on the podcast. Like, literally heard Doug Reynolds talk about the 1954 grand final at the 70-year reunion in the Skyline room last year. It was amazing. Yeah. And they're interviewing him on stage, and dead set, like, mate, he's 90-something years old, this bloke, and you're like, it's probably not going to be great, the interview with the 90. I think he would have been 92.
Yeah.
Because he was 22 in, I don't know how that makes
54?
91 maybe.
Sure.
Anyway. And he gets up there and he's full of like gags. He remembers the night after. And then he asks the great question. He goes, do you still have good memories? I mean, it's still 70 years ago. Do you have good memories about it? And he goes, mate, I think about it every night before I go to sleep.
Damn straight.
Which is awesome. And then, like, this is the weirdest thing about footy is, and I may have said this before on the pod, but we literally had a moment, the two of us, where we both go, you kicked the second last goal in this 1954. You kicked the second last goal and he goes, there's not many of us. I'm like, mate, this is awesome. This is awesome. So I don't know your answer to your actual question.
Should have got matching tats. Yeah, but I suppose, what do you call the winning goal in a 50?
There's no such thing. This is why
thing?
people don't remember games like that as much, right? Like the great games of any era, they have to kind of be even, because it's not just whether they're like 3 goals, because there's games where there's sort of 5 or 6 goal lead and they chip a couple of the late ones and it sort of gets close. It has to be basically on the line with the last like 7 or 8 minutes to go for it to be considered a winning goal, I think.
And because I do the pod with you, I always say you kick the winning goal, but on the day, even Picken's last goal, I was not calling that the winner.
No, of course not. There's a lot of fear attached to and let's say, what is the word that the young kids use? Trauma.
Trauma.
There's a lot of childhood trauma of Bulldog supporters that just comes out of people when you talk to them about the past. And you know, like I've been lucky enough to obviously get a bit closer with all of the past players and those types of things. And even as players, because as modern day players, I don't think we have anywhere near as much attachment to the success or failures of the past, because we're professionals who've come from whatever walk of life. We usually, especially if you're a higher pick, which is not a perfect correlation, but often has some correlation to who plays long careers and those types of things, you kind of lose a bit of that fanfare very late in your junior career, because you're kind of like, well, I've got to work out how to play for these clubs in the future, and I've got to work out how I'm going to be a professional. And you sort of stop watching the game for fun and you start watching it because you're trying to understand how it's going to be to transition from being a junior to senior. So we don't have the same. But the guys who played in the 90s, they have this like... And it's the same with the other clubs. Like your vicious hatred of Hawthorn.
Yes.
The ex-players, a lot of them have the same feelings like to those types of clubs, because they feel like it was like a suburban footy experience that they used to play against these guys.
Damn straight. Well, the reason I hate Hawthorn is because I have to deal with a lot of their fans. Because they were successful for so many years. A lot of my generation are Hawthorn fans, bandwagon jumpers. And they all get... And they're rewarded with a premiership every decade, a couple of back-to-backs of three-peat. It's just unfair. Now, you can tell, by the way, that the Bulldogs have had a bad loss, because we're almost 4 minutes in, and we've talked about 2016. We're talking about how you become a professional footballer. We're only a few minutes away from me telling Boydie about a Seinfeld reference.
Well, I'm actually going to start talking about my sister playing in Adelaide, a gather-round in the VFLW state game.
So we did the gather-round watch-along party, thanks to everyone. We had a couple of 100 people tune in throughout.
very
which is
good.
And if you want to rewatch it, I don't know why you would, but because we lose. But
Yeah.
apparently it's all up there on my YouTube.
See, this is actually a good point because it just occurred to me. We were obviously very briefly chatting before the show. How do we make this better? Like, how do we make the watch-alongs? Because to be honest, if we're playing interstate and we're both available, it's a really easy thing to do.
Yeah.
We can, we didn't on the weekend, but we can bring the kids can play together, whatever, and we can just watch the game, stream it, engage with our audience, have a great time. I think what we need to do is we need to do one for a game that we obviously magically predict is going to be a great victory for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And I think that's where all of the excitement and hype comes from because we'll be able to cut the last little bit of the game and share our live reactions to a great Bulldogs win, which at the moment we have sort of much more in the honourable loss department.
I was thinking of cutting up like the first half, but it's just going to be twinged with sadness. Who's going to sit through us?
It needs to have a good result. This is not one of those things where people can forget about what happened a week ago and feel better about, these guys are commentating on the game. But imagine like we get a great one where we have, the GWS Giants versus us or some sort of bit extra in terms of spice on the game.
In a couple of weeks, we could... what are you doing? You've got a corporate in Gold Coast or something because people were asking us to do it every week. Obviously, we can't do that for home games because we want to actually go to the match.
Well, I did the math on my schedule coming up. I'm travelling 14 out of the next 7-8 weeks.
Ooh.
So now they're not all on weekends, but a lot of them are.
We play the Giants in 2 weeks. Where are you? You're
I'm
on
in
the Gold Coast.
yeah.
All right. Well, after that, we're... what about... there's Anzac Day. It's not Anzac Day. Election Day.
Election
I knew
Day,
it was
May
something
3rd.
to do with Australia.
I am on May 3rd. I am in a town near Echuca that starts with L, that I can't remember exactly what it is, but I'll be not here. That's
All right.
Saturday night, though. When's the game? Is it on?
It's Saturday Day.
It's not going to happen. It's a long way to Echuca.
Yeah. Then we got... Gold Coast. Hey, what about Gold Coast? That's 10th of May. That's in Darwin. We'll probably lose that because Gold Coast are doing that thing now. No, we do occasionally, but Gold Coast now, for all the times we played them at Ballarat, where they had to, Queenslanders playing in single-digit wintry conditions, they're now getting revenge on us by making us play in the tropics, which they're used to.
Yep. And also, I'm working that day in Elmore.
All right, mate. We've all got gigs. Then we play the Bombers. That's our home game, so I'll be there. Then Cats,
I'm
maybe.
in Bali.
Cardinia, you're going to Bali. Jesus. This on-air meeting is just how much
I'm in Bali that week and the next week, and then I'm back, and then I'm in Kyabram.
So I need guest hosts for those weeks.
I think I think we leave on the Tuesday. Maybe
we'll make it work. But by the way, I'm going to Japan in July. You're going to have to do co-hosts.
That's fine.
Do you know how to upload this podcast?
I think maybe I'll ask Mitch because we should ask Mitch because Mitch has started doing a podcast on American Aces with Tom Sheridan and Daisy Thomas.
Okay.
It's been
what's that about?
What's it about? It's about footy as a whole.
American Aces.
Yeah, American Aces is the umbrella, I think, that Tommy Sheridan. So he's got a few sort of podcasts that sit under that banner.
Okay.
Let me say, Mitch called me this morning and asked for essentially a prediction between 3 separate likely outcomes because I don't do the whole sports gambling thing.
Right.
Not that I have any issue with people who do. It's just not in my realm,
so
given
Mitch
that
is
I
putting
do-
on a multi and he wants your opinion on
Well,
it.
basically, like one of the things they do is they predict the most likely outcome, and I think they're sponsored by PointsBet or something, so they have like the weekly best bets or whatever.
God.
Yeah, so I don't do that stuff. But my point being is that watching Mitch, Daisy, and Tommy. So Tommy and Mitch have known each other for a long time. I don't know, I think Tommy and Daisy must know each other. But my point is, Mitch could be a good co-host because he's actually in the podcast game now.
Yeah,
So-
okay. What's his attitude towards the dogs at the moment?
No, he's really good. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
sweet.
back on board.
Maybe we should get one on the three of us to
we can do
ease
that.
people in.
Well, we've done 2 with him already.
With Mitch? Mm-hmm. We've only done 1.
No, we did 2 online.
You sure?
I think so.
I think it was only 1 where
don't
he
know.
talked about the custard.
There was one up on the Gold Coast. And I think there was one other maybe.
Anyway,
yes,
I'd like to be in
it'd
the room
good.
with
I think
Mitch Wallace.
we can sell it to him.
All right.
So yeah, we're going to need certainly some co-hosts. Now I did drive to Adelaide to go over, and this has a specific reason. We were talking about before about like the suburban connection with like players of the 90s. Now let me just say this: Port Adelaide has not lost that. They still have
yes.
it. Oh my God. We went to watch. So for those you don't know, my sister Tessa has been playing in the VFLW for St Kilda or the Saints or something Saints or whatever they're called for a little while, last 3 years, I think, 2 or 3. And she's now moved over to North Melbourne, and North Melbourne won the AFLW last year, and they're a really good program. VFLW, sorry. And so
They won the AFLW too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they've got a really strong women's program.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so Tessa got actually picked in the state team for the VFLW to go play State of Origin. First time it's ever happened. This is like the inaugural state game for the VFLW teams. And they played against the Crow Eaters and they won. And so I drove at last minute because, of course, they announced the squad 6 days before it was on with my mum.
And it's gather round, so flights are $30,000.
Flights were, so I think we worked out it was going to cost a minimum of $1,500 a person to stay and go over there just for one night.
Yep.
Probably more. So we drove and I spent 18 hours in a car with my mum between 6 a.m. on Friday and 1:30 p.m. on Saturday.
Which I think is a Seth Rogen, Barbara Streisand film.
Yeah, very much so. It could have been road trip. Like, we didn't fight. We didn't argue, though. At one stage, I did make mention that there was a few stops I could drop her off on the way home because she was starting to get on my nerves. And she was so tired because we slept at this, a great motor inn in Keith. If you ever go there, great rooms, great. But any of the places on the way to Adelaide are next to either a railway or a highway or both.
Yes.
So we literally got into bed at 11:45 on Friday night. So we drove to Adelaide in the morning, got there, saw Tessa, watched the game, left the game at 9, 2.75 of an hour back to Keith.
Wow.
The moment we got back to Keith and put our head on the pillow, the 3-mile long train went past for 20 minutes.
20 minutes. You just go and drive faster, mate.
Yeah, oh, mate, it was hilarious. So it was awesome. But my point was that I was sitting at Alberton, which, by the way, what an amazing place to watch the footy.
It's really good. I've not seen a game there, but I did go just to have a look at it when I was once doing gigs in Adelaide.
Incredible.
And I loved it.
Yeah, great place to watch the footy, and also very, very, very much a good representation about all good, strong suburban or state league footy clubs are sponsored by pokies, because that's where all the money for that place came from, no doubt.
Yeah, and really friendly though as well. Like there was one guy, he was part of the cheer squad called David Shelley, and I sort of knew him back when I used to do banners in the old days, and I just clocked him there, and I'm like, oh Shelley, hey Danny, and that. He gave me a tour, introduced me to everyone.
It's awesome.
I got a discount at the Port shop. I bought a History of Port Adelaide book because I'm a footy nerd.
Yep.
And it was a proper community feel, and that's the thing. I think they were going out of their way to show that off because the big thing Port fans say is we're a club. The Crows are a
creation
corporation.
Yeah. It's sort of a bit like the famous Danny banner in 2016. Our club
Blood
was
and
born,
Boots.
Blood and Boots. And GWS was born in AFL focus groups. And the Crows are certainly thought of that way over there.
Well, fun fact, Crows are obviously the name of the thing. Yeah. Close second, Adelaide Giants.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Crows is much better, I feel.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Giants,
I mean, like Giants, because they're sort of a bit gimmicky up in Sydney, I suppose. I'm fine with. Actually, I'm quite okay with the name now. Like, sort of, it's become normal to me.
Yeah.
The GWS
well, you got the
Giants.
G on there. So.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're sitting at this table, and the best part about it is there's like a deck that you can sit up. We sat at a high
this
table.
Is you and your mum watching the footy?
Having a steak, like watching the girls warm up.
Nice.
It's awesome. Anyway, these two ladies joined us at our table. And they said, "Oh, are you here to watch, someone play?" Mum's like, "Yep, my daughter's playing Victoria," and they're like, "Yeah, we'll go South Australia, whatever." I said, "What are you here for? Have you got someone out there as well?" And they said, "No, we're here for Mum." And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean, your mum?" "Oh, it's the 12-year anniversary of Mum's death, and she's buried in the forward pocket." He said had her ashes scattered in the forward pocket.
Ashes, all right.
It sounded better if you say buried. And so they'd gone out onto the ground and had their moment with Mum and came up. Now, these two ladies, lovely, very nice. Oh, my God. They were Port Adelaide people through and through.
Ferals.
They were...
In a lovely way.
In a lovely way.
Yes.
They were like those, beautiful football fans who just have no concept that there is the world going on around them except for football.
Yes.
And they grew up 50 metres away from the ground. They supported them the whole time into the league. You talk about any of the players, it's like they're their children.
Yep.
And you talk about any of the coaches, it's like it's their cousin or their brother. And any of the people that lead the club, like, he's a good man, that one. He's a good man.
Yes.
And I was like, no, that mixed in with the most bogan South Australian accent. It was a real eye-opening experience. I did not realise that there were still supporter bases that were like basically like Williamstown playing in the AFL, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I said this in the watch along party, but I was over in Adelaide because Front Bar was filming at Gather Round, and we filled the front row with half Crows nuffies and half Port nuffies.
Yeah.
Now, the Crows nuffies, they're nuffies.
Oh, yeah.
But Port Nuffies are just a cut above. That is weapons grade Nuffy.
Yeah, and you got to understand, when we're saying this is a compliment.
Oh, totally.
But,
yes.
like, you know, there's certain spots you want to get caught with them when they're drunk. There's certain spots that you don't.
Yeah.
Places with lots of exits would be the place that's better. But, yeah, I thought, and look, Gather Round, like, I didn't really think too much about it. It started 2 or 3 years ago, right?
3.
3 years.
We've done 3
I didn't
now.
think that much about-
We're 0-3. We lost
good.
to Port, we lost to the Cats, we've lost to the Lions.
What that tells me is that we probably should go next year, because it is, like, I walk through Adelaide and, Adelaide CBD is, just outside, like, it's like within like 150 metres of it, though. It's awesome on the water.
Yeah.
But, geez, the middle, not good. It's like,
What are you talking about? The Rundle Mall?
yeah.
Malls balls?
The malls, all the malls, every one of them. The whole place.
Mate,
it's
and you're
so
there,
old.
and you're there when it's good. Try
Yeah, I
going to
know.
Adelaide when it's
I
not
know.
fringe or gather round.
Now, I tell you what, I'm very jealous of, like, we literally drove over the river Torrens, and then we went past the ground and then sort of out through, like, you can exit basically past the golf course. Amazing. But less than a kilometre behind us, I was like, what is this place? But my point is, massive fan. I think Gather Round's an awesome thing that they've done.
It is good. The problem is, if you want to go next year, we've got to try and book the hotels.
I know,
now.
and we've got to guess which weekend it's on.
Yeah. And I guarantee you it'll be the weekend of that both of our kids have birthdays,
Yeah,
school
yeah.
holidays.
Maybe
Melbourne
we
Comedy
just
Festival.
take Mum and Dad's caravan and we sleep in there together and use it as a mobile Danny Boyd studio.
Now we're talking. Then we do a live pod for all the Bulldogs fans who can afford
and
to
we'll
go
get
over.
Dad to drive us. We'll do it in the back on the way there. Imagine we're doing a 9-hour stream. Okay, now we should probably get to the fact that the Bulldogs played footy on the weekend, and they're going to play again
Played
on this.
half a game.
Yeah, sort of 2/3. 2/3.
It started very well.
Yeah.
Because we were doing the live stream. Actually, the thing I found the most difficult was we have to keep talking during the watch along party. I barely have time to emotionally digest what is happening.
Yeah.
And so a few times I missed goals because I was chatting to people on the live chat. And even it took me hours to actually get angry about the result.
Yeah, is that good or bad? It's like delayed.
I think it's good for me because otherwise I'm very immediate.
Yeah. And look, we, first and foremost, for all of you who joined, very thankful. It was a great, look, it was awesome, especially in an away game where you can't attend, to be able to talk to Dogs fans live.
Yes.
And there were some amazing topics of conversation that we chose to engage in, a few that we didn't, to be honest.
Oh,
there was
only
one
a
in
couple.
there was one in particular.
I think, anyway, we won't talk about that. But a few listeners hit me up. I haven't told you this yet. A few listeners hit me up. These are people who can't go to the game due to physical conditions.
Right.
And they loved being able to
Awesome.
chat to us.
Awesome. Well, we certainly will do one again once we can fit it in. And I can see a world where, like, we do especially if we make finals or, mate, that'd be awesome if they're interstate and we can't travel to go to them. We got to have a Bulldogs,
We
hub.
could do it. Do you know what we should do is do a live watch along party, but also maybe at a
venue.
venue, so
Yeah.
people can come and do it live and they can watch along on the stream.
I mean, not to share too much in the commercials of this show, but let's just say Danny and Tom's earnings from this show is directly tied with whether the Bulldogs are doing any good.
Oh, yes. This episode, like, if you're listening to this episode right now,
You are a part of the
officially,
inner sanctum.
to use a commercial radio term, you're an active listener.
Yep.
You're a core listener.
Core listener.
Because you are still here. Whereas
Devoted.
we lose literally up to, you could measure it in the thousands, whether we've won or lost.
Yeah. And look, we understand. But let me tell you,
Totally.
for all Dogs fans listening right now, and I want you to hear me and I want you to hear me good. We are a good side this year. We actually are a good side. And for those who've listened to me for a while, I'm not the most optimistic supporter of
that's me.
anyone. That's Danny.
Yes.
And between the two of us, we land somewhere in the substrata of reality, sort of.
Yeah. Neither of us, do you know what? We probably need a third person on here to be negative because a few of my WhatsApp groups, there's always someone in the WhatsApp group who is absolute doomsday. Everyone sucks.
Yes. And I can just bully that person into some level of reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, geez, there was one guy in one of my groups, yeah, Chris, I'm talking about you, who started going me because I was excited that Cooper Hines got a game, and he was going me saying, oh, your mate was terrible. Your mate was awful. Why did you pick him?
It's the worst part of footy, isn't it?
I was excited because he kicked the winning goal against Werribee, the reigning VFL premiers the week before. And and I thought Cooper's family was great. Yeah, he didn't get too much of the footy, but
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this on the live stream. There are a few positions on the ground that are really hard to transfer in, and wing is one of them. Right, wing is really different at AFL and VFL level. They might as well be different sports because in the VFL, the grounds are heavier, smaller, slower. The opposition slower. It's much more direct. It's much more contested footy. You don't have to have anywhere near as fast reactions. In the AFL, if you think about good wingers that we had, Lockie Hunter was a great winger for us for a long time. You need to be an almost intellectual football to understand where you need to be. You need to react incredibly fast. You need to have a huge engine, and you need to be able to basically flip on a dime and get from one end of the ground to the other because your job is to basically play from forward pocket to back pocket.
Mm-hmm. Take up space
and play around the stoppages.
And
it's
you could
a
play
really tough role.
An amazing game and barely get a touch, but you've created pressure. You've done all the things that don't get on the stat sheet.
Influential wingers are. There's bugger all of them. There's almost none in today's game because it's not designed to be good for wingers out there at the moment. The way that we play is through the centre corridor. It's stoppage and pressing the ball up the ground. And what you got to remember, the best position for a winger to be in is when the ball is hedged into one side and they can use their running power to get open side and run and carry like we used to play. Right? Like when the Bulldogs...
You explain that using Muggle terms. So we're talking if the ball's on one wing, it's good to be on the other wing? Is that what you're saying?
So think about it like if you cut the ground vertically down the middle and horizontally down the middle.
Yes,
Does that make sense? Like a plus.
4 quarters. Yep.
4 quarters. If the ball is in the opposite back pocket to your wing, so let's say you're in the right-hand back pocket and you're the left-hand winger.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep. Yeah. This is good for
This
me.
is good because the way we used to play when we were really successful in 15-16 was we wanted to get the ball against all odds out to that side of the ground, right?
To the left side.
To the left side of the ground.
To the opposite.
So
fat side.
the fat side of the ground. And what that means was if you're a winger who's fast and fit, your job is to basically sense that we're going to switch the ball and sprint your absolute guts out and pull the ground out and make the ground really, really big, right? So what I mean by making the ground big, it means that the 36 players on the ground are really spread out. That means making the ground big.
Okay.
Making the ground small is like pressing up and trying to keep the ball inside 50, and you've got 30 players. Yeah, basically flooding, right? Or if you're the defensive team, you're trying to basically trap the ball in a certain part of the ground to wear down defenders and try and get them to make mistakes. So in the example on the weekend, not only was it a really small ground, the ball never really got to the wings. And if it's on the wings, it was contested, and it's his first game, and he's trying to figure out the speed, and we're not going that well, and we're getting done around the ball. Like there's a lot of things going.
Opponent's probably a premiership player.
Yeah, probably a premiership player. He's probably sat next to Neil for a while. He's probably sat next to whoever else plays for him.
So McCluggage, Dunkley.
What's that other kid's name who's really good? Zach Bailey. Did he play on the weekend?
He played very well.
Yeah,
he got a couple of goals against us.
He's a gun, that bloke.
McCluggage
is he way shorter than he looks?
Oh, they all are. All of those
he
Brisbane
looks
Lions
massive,
players.
that Zach Bailey. He looks like a 6'2" monster.
Mate, when I met Hugh McCluggage...
He's tiny, right?
I was taller than him.
Yeah.
I'm going, how is this? Because he carries himself with such height.
They're big, strong boys, aren't they? Because Dunks is big, right? Dunks is 188 centimetres, 6'2".
Yes.
Or 6'1.5", whatever he is. He's big. He's a big boy. But the rest of them aren't.
Is it just that Fagan is like, because he's a granddad, he's so small, they all look really tall?
No, I reckon it's a bit like the... remember how big Sydney used to feel? Like, because they're so big and strong. But they like McVeigh and Heaney and Cunningham, Bolton.
They're not that tall, are they?
Like, I'm sure there's like 10 more because they all look the same, right? They're all little like meatball, strong, fit, angry little people. I was going to say something else, but anyway.
We're on air, mate.
It wasn't going to be that bad. So, yes, we should lay off Cooper Hynes. But again, just to hone it back, we are a good football side. We are missing a couple of things. We're missing a bit of class, and we're really missing another goal kicker at the moment. With Norton not kicking goals and with Cody not playing, we're missing 3 or 4 a game. Jamara's obviously not playing at the moment. He was good for 2.
Yes.
We sort of got like 6 goals. We got to find every game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's
rather
a really
than
good
it being like something we can rely on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. We couldn't have had a worse luck with who is missing or gone missing at this point. Now, we have absolute faith that Some of them will come back. All of them would be amazing, but you say a bit of class. There is lot of hope. There is one man who, according to my sources, is looking very, very good. And to give the listeners a bit of a preview of the banner, I am really hoping he comes back because there's a very obvious joke, considering what day we're playing, that has been approved and will get up. And if he doesn't play, oh my God, it's lame. The backup joke is lame. So just for my own comedic ego, I am really hoping.
As an alternative, you could work on the other joke, but let's not do that because it's too late.
I've worked on it, but it's problem is I've got to play nice at the moment. I'm working on the Giants banner now, and I'm hoping I can maybe throw a couple of jabs with that. Surely
they play such a fun game on social media.
Exactly.
Did you see? Actually, speaking of that, Shane Biggs's post the other day?
Which one?
The one about Brisbane?
No, what was that?
Oh, mate.
Biggsy, friend of the show?
Was it Brisbane? Oh, no. So I think there was a video of Brisbane beating us and the Giants commented, hurts doesn't it? Or something.
Oh, yeah, right.
And Biggsy screenshotted and posted, says, I can think of a few things that hurt more. It was such a funny Biggsy moment. I'll tell you what. That bloke must sit on his phone for 4 to 5 hours a day.
Oh, he does.
I don't know what he does for work. I think he's a plumber.
He's a tradie, yeah.
Yeah, but when?
Doesn't matter. He just walks into a room, lights it up.
He's got the reverse smoko. Instead of doing an hour or two of work, then it's a little break. He does like an hour or two of not working and then a little break to work and then goes back and forth.
Mate, whatever Biggsy's role is on the site, it's just morale.
Morale, yeah, it's just morale.
Morale. He could go into the depths of Ukraine right now and cheer everyone. He should just hang out with Zelensky.
Just do the worm.
Just do the worm. Zelensky suddenly, you know what? We lost a lot of civilians, but let's get back at it. That's what Biggsy should do. Biggsy should be an ambassador for the United Nations.
He could be, honestly. It doesn't matter what room he walks into. He lights it up. You're to take it a bit back to home base, you're in a room and a comedian's completely bombing on stage. There's 1,000 people in the room.
Never been there, mate.
Danny doesn't know.
I've heard of it. Other comedians have told me.
And you just go, well, just to fix this, just to break the ice, Biggsy comes out, does the worm, talks some shit, and makes no sense for 2 minutes. And then you go, and we're back. Yeah. Or the crowd's back engaged. Or even better, let's be practical. Maybe we bring it back to the Dogs. Bring him back to the Dogs at 3/4 time last weekend. We would have won.
Oh, bring Biggsy in?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
It is.
That's a great idea.
Chief vibe officer. Or chief morale officer.
This is what they do. You bring Biggsy to every single game. Like the Bulldogs, make sure it's mandatory that he play. And you give him, and you put him in a private bar. So give him a few beers.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's his superpower. And then, in case of emergency, break glass.
Yep.
So we smash the glass of the Medallion Club, and Biggsy walks out, and he either entertains the players or distracts the fans from our pain. This is a great idea.
You talk about representation. We need him at board meetings. Because you need to have someone who represents the people. And Shane Biggs, if nothing else, represents the people.
Oh, yes.
Put him up there, and we don't need you to talk a lot, Shane. But when it's your moment, you come in and you just dance like no one's watching.
I think we've just solved it.
I think so.
We've solved everything.
Here's another thought. So Bont's calf's taken a bit longer.
Yes.
You can't tell me that if Shane Biggs was massaging his calf for the last 2 weeks, he wouldn't have come back before Brisbane. There's no way. There's no way that doesn't occur.
Yeah. So Doc Zimmerman and Biggsy just...
Those two get along very well too.
Well, who doesn't get along with Biggsy?
I don't know. Exactly. Never met anyone.
It's physically impossible. All right, sweet. Well, we've solved everything. We bring back Bont. We bring back Biggsy. Premiership's ours. 3-peat. 4-peat.
What?
Done. Pens down. Podcast over.
Till Biggsy needs another surgery on whatever's wrong with him. So anyway, we've got the Bont back. It's going to obviously, we think we got the Bont back.
We're hoping.
And by the way, you say your sources. That's been all over every piece.
My sources are just looking at my phone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to appear like...
I've got the inside word for tomorrow. Ready? Sun's going to rise.
Whoa. Who told... that's not guaranteed in this current climate.
You know who my source is? God.
Oh, really? It's a good insider.
Yeah.
Well, Biggsy's better.
Yeah. I also call Biggsy God. I think... So we got the Saints this weekend.
We do, on Easter Sunday.
The Jack McRae clash.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of the Nathan Burke clash. We've got who else has played for both clubs? Nicky Winmar.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, there's probably people just screaming at the
Zane Cordy.
Zane Cordy, best on
Is
ground.
Zane Cordy been playing? Do we know this?
I don't think so. He lives. Seriously,
we can see his house from my window.
Yeah, we're at Boydie's palace, and Bigsy. Zane Cordy lives in the gardener's cottage.
Well, he lives in half of a house, basically.
But yeah, man. So St Kilda, we've always had a bit of a rivalry with.
They've still got Adam Treloar listed at calf 5 weeks.
Yeah, I know. That's something the media's not talked about.
That's a cow. It's not a calf.
That's a heifer.
That's what people used to say about my calves. That's not a calf, mate.
That's a heifer.
It's a full cow.
What can you leg press?
I don't know. I used to be able to do a lot.
I can, because my calves are creepily strong. I can do like 160 kilos.
But is that leg press? What's the calf?
Calf press, calf raise.
Oh, I don't know. I don't do it. Mate, I've never needed a calf raise.
I know you don't need to, but I want to see how well you can do.
Mate, my calves are big enough and flat enough that people, probably 3 to 4 people, could sit around it and eat dinner off them.
It is, mate. If
it's
we were
very flat. Look at that.
If we were in a plane crash and I had to eat you to survive,
oh, mate,
your shanks.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even feel it. You could have like sort of 6 or 7 days of protein in there. Might help me run faster because carbs, for a fact, slow you down. That's an absolute fact.
Really?
Yes. You want to have small calves. Look at Jason Johannesson. Very fast, very small calves.
Okay, good to know.
So what are our predictions for this week, mate? Are we?
Well, this is the thing against Ross Lyons Saints. We either smash them or they choke us and they suffocate us and then overrun us in the last quarter. So I'd like to be kind of optimistic. So what have the Saints done the last few weeks? They lost to the Giants. They were up. They beat Port the week before that. I would have preferred them to beat the Giants, so they were overconfident coming into our game. But
Jack McRae only had 17 touches last week, which means he's likely to have about 60 this week.
All right, genuine question. Will Jack McRae be telling Ross Lyon opposition analysis stuff that could hurt us?
I don't think so.
As in, what, he doesn't know it, or he's too loyal to us, or
I would say there's a few things. One, it's not that easy to do that. Like, footy's such an interesting game. It's not like it's like the game that I go to is the NFL is so like, you know, this is the play we're doing, right? So you could teach someone an opposition playbook, and then they wouldn't be able to use like half of their plays.
Yeah,
right. AFL's not like that. It's very much more a rolling, evolving, fluid game of footy. So, and what are they going to say? Like, Jack's going to go, well, I played against Bont. Here's his weakness. Good luck. Or Libba. Or Ed, for that matter. It's not like these players have got, like, you know, a chink in their armour that's magically going to make them play terrible. And on the flip side of it, I don't know if you've watched Ross Lyons' teams for a long time. They kind of just make the whole game miserable.
Yes.
And there's not really a lot of variety in that. It's just like, you know what we're going to do? The goal of today is to bring television rating down as quickly as possible.
Actually, that's interesting because Ross Lyon in his press conferences keeps bringing up, I watched White Lotus, I watched Married at First Sight. Maybe he's there as maybe St Kilda are being paid by Channel 9 and Binge.
It's possible.
For him to just like remind us that we could be watching anything else apart from Ross Lyons Saints.
Yeah, maybe he's like, you know, Home and Away, great show. And I don't know what station that's on. Or what
that's
is it?
Channel 7,
is it
so that
Getaway?
doesn't work.
Was Getaway 9?
Getaway was 9. These are very weird.
They're the right time though, aren't they?
They'd probably be hitting up. Like, he's gone White Lotus, Married at First Sight. These are the top rating shows.
Yeah. Is White Lotus on normal TV, is it?
White Lotus, no, on Binge. But no one's watching normal TV these days.
Samoneone said to me the other day, they're like, oh, don't you know this person on Fox Footy? I'm like, I haven't watched Fox Footy in 10 years.
Well, you watched it on Saturday with me.
Yeah, but the game. I just watched the game. I'm not watching any of the shows. What do you want me to do? Sit down and watch on the couch?
Like again, on the couch.
Mate, just to be clear, I watched AFL 360 and On the Couch religiously when I was growing up, and I loved it. But I'm not watching it today. I've got stuff to do, mate. You know, I can't even get... Me and Anna have been trying to watch 1923 for 3 months, and there's only 10 episodes.
Oh, that's the Kevin Costner.
Yes.
No, Harrison Ford.
Yes, Harrison Ford's in that one. Very good. But again, I can't get through it because it's like, after you put the kid to bed and you've had a big day and an early start, I'm like... And it's like, you want to watch it? I'm like... Not really.
Do you know what? Yeah, I remember where. Do you remember? You would have heard of The Wire.
Yes.
Really well respected
Baltimore.
HBO show. Baltimore. That's right.
And you start as, what do you start as? The dealer, and then the cops side of the story, and then something like that, right?
It's so well written, but it treats you like an adult. It doesn't spoon feed you anything. We watched the first 2 seasons when we had one kid, and then the second kid showed up, and we were so sleep deprived. We tried to watch the third season. I'm like, I can't follow what's going on.
It is it? It's for each season's from different perspectives of the same neighborhood kind of thing, isn't it?
No, there's a different sort of like the first one was about drug dealers in the project. Second one was about people trafficking on the docks.
Oh, right.
And third season apparently was about a corrupt local newspaper, but I can't remember because I haven't slept.
Yes, and it doesn't come back, those memories.
No.
There's a very real possibility that you didn't take them in the first place. You know, it's not like you've lost them; you didn't have them to start with.
Did you ever watch Deadwood?
No.
That was a cowboy, well, but it was almost Shakespearean, the writing. I had to watch it with subtitles, even though they were speaking English, for me to appreciate not only the language, the performance.
The writing,
It's just, anyway. All right, so we're getting off footy.
So,
where are you watching this week? I'm going to the game.
Sunday afternoon, I'll be in Anglesey.
Sunday night, mate.
Sunday night, yeah. Which
I like that.
Well, how do we feel about completely monopolising Easter weekend? Because it used to be a bit of a sacred sort of...
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I suppose you're at home and you're bored,
Yeah, well, and even when I wasn't, I love footy. So
yeah, it's true.
And, going to mass only takes an hour or so. And the Good Friday appeal, very worthy cause, but it ain't good television. So...
What are we... how is St Kilda actually going?
They're up and down. They're better than people thought, but they're currently 9th. We're 12th.
Yeah. So let me say this, because this is probably the important context of this weekend. It gets real tricky. It just starts to get trickier if we lose this weekend.
Yes.
It just becomes this uphill battle. Like, we've had 3 very admirable defeats.
Yeah. We lost to both Freo and Brisbane through a couple of errors.
And Collingwood
through umpiring.
Which, of course, let's just say errors for all of them, because it just depends who made them.
Yeah. Through errors, be it our own or someone else's. Yeah. But we've always had this sort of safety blanket of, well, we don't have Bont. We get Bont back this week and we lose. Suddenly, reality is staring us right in the face.
And look, I think the important thing to remember is no matter how good you are, and Marcus, as I've said a million times, is going to go down to the greatest Bulldogs player of all time.
Yes.
It is still a long time to have been out. And it's still a long time, especially when you, the start of the year is such a, mad affair of joining into the first round, the second round, just getting your head around what footy is, that everyone who Marcus is playing against this week will be fitter, more in form, more up to speed with the competition, and all of his teammates will be looking to him to lead if he plays, and they'll also be looking to see where he fits in, because Marcus is such a big player and a big personality from a football point of view that it's going to disrupt the people that have been in there. Ed's been fantastic. Lib has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. Where does Riley Sanders fit into this mix? Because he looked okay on the weekend as well at different stages. Yeah. But does he still have a role to play in the middle of the ground if the captain's back? How do you find the mix? So it's going to disrupt the team regardless. But what was really obvious to me, I think, on the weekend is there was 2 things. One, we lost Harms early, and that really hurt us late in the game. Right? It was really hot. It was starting to get a little slippery, and we started to make a lot of mistakes, and we started to get overrun around the ball.
Yes, and don't forget, Brisbane play in those conditions all the time, 90% of the time.
And they train in them and everything.
And so they handled it better than us.
And then number 2 is when you need someone to stand up, there is not a single person in the league who has stood up consistently in big moments and sensed the moment, whether it be a centre clearance or finding a mark or kicking a goal or using his class that Bont has over the last 10 years. Yeah. And having that type of player just to settle the team is incredibly important. So I'm very optimistic, particularly if he plays, that we win this week, and hopefully we win well. But if we don't, then we start talking about, well, we've got to find 4 of the next 10. So we're going to get 6 or 7 of the next 10. Yeah. And he started, we can only lose 4 or 5 more games for the year. And it just starts to get really tricky from a numbers point of view. So really big game. Plenty of people should be watching because there's not much else to do on Easter Sunday night, even if it is a Ross Lyon versus, basically, what is it, 9th versus 14th or 13th?
12th.
12th, yeah.
Yeah, look,
should
It'll be
win.
Fun. We should win. We should win. We will be back on the Patreon next week. Do get involved.
Yes.
We'll be analysing a bit more honestly, and it just helps us, maintain this. Only $5 a month, but there is more. We got a tier of $1,000 a month. No one's taken it yet.
Yeah, I know.
Yet. It's fully tax deductible, is it? I've no idea if it is.
We're not a charity.
Are we not? Feels like we should be.
It does feel like it at times. A lot of outgoings.
If tell you what, you donate $5,000 to the Ukraine Crisis Appeal, we'll send you a book and a stubby holder.
Yeah. We are also we are up to almost 200 on the Patreon.
We are, yeah. And thank you for all the people for growing that, and it just really helps us out. We think we're the biggest Bulldogs podcast on earth. Considering, look, hey, for us, we love the Bulldogs. For you love the Bulldogs, but in the scheme of things, we are so effing niche.
Yeah,
so,
very niche.
Please,
but the best part about being niche is that we know there's so many other people, whether it be a large audience or a small one, who are just as dedicated towards the Bulldogs as we are, if not more, which might seem hard to believe, particularly in Danny's case. But we love having everyone a part of it. We genuinely have such a fun time on the Patreon. We love engaging with all of the people that we get to meet, and we see people around wearing our merchandise, talking to us, telling us they're Patreon members, showing us all of the things that they've listened to. It's really, really awesome, and it makes going to the footy or being a part of the Western Bulldogs community so much better for us and for everyone else. And it just ends up being this really core group of people who hopefully, based on the way we like to discuss footy and maybe a bit more positive, a bit more of positive supporters in the Bulldogs. And you don't get sort of stuck in your own little echo chamber and, mindlessly find your way into misery and abuse and the bad parts of footy.
Because don't forget that media has worked out the psychology. They get more angry clicks. So they want to play to the negativity of everything. We're here to tell you the reality, which is it's not so bad. We're actually in a really good spot.
Yep.
If for us to be 2 wins, 3 losses, but 3 really honourable losses.
Against good teams.
Against fantastic teams in difficult conditions. Things are looking good.
I gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had to love the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. Long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.